So if you're a frequent watcher of my channel, you know I do a lot of work on Jeeps, 3.7s, 4.7s all the time. And over the years, I've done several videos on timing. I have excellent video of showing you how to do the timing, some super tricks on getting it on there simply. But what I've never done was explore the problem of why the tensioners fail on these so often. You can buy a brand new set of tensioners from China, America, no matter where you buy them, they seem to fail. Well, I found a cure for that problem. And it's simpler than what you might think. So before you go out and buy that timing, you should check out this video. You can't begin to imagine how startled I was when inside the shop I had two 4.7s from 6 years of difference. This is a 2002 and this is a 2008. I can't believe the differences. Even though they're very minute, they're going to surprise you. Inside the shop, we have attitude, or as I call it, possible attitude, because we could add just about anything in here. We could put a 5.7 Hemi in here, could put a 4.7 in there, and we have a Dodge Durango. Now, I know what you folks are thinking. You're probably really killing yourself on the inside because you're like, what does a Dodge Durango and my sweet Jeep Commander, Jeep Grand Cherokee have to do with one another? Well, I'm here to tell you, it's sad to say, but they're the same. You're probably like, Clay, what are you talking about? The Jeep Grand Cherokee and Jeep Commander and the Dodge Durango have absolutely nothing to do with one another. Why are you saying things like that? Well, it's this grand conspiracy called profits, okay? So manufacturers build these automobiles and they use the same drivetrains. Yes, it's true, folks. GMC Terrain is the same as a Chevy Equinox. They just look a little bit different. A little bit different fitness. But underneath them, underneath their skin, they're all the same. So, same thing happens over at Dodge. And then eventually, Jeep, Daimler, Chrysler, whatever. Okay, so back in 2002, the Dodge Durango boasted the 4.7 V8, which was a new platform for Dodge. And they absolutely came all over themselves and said, oh, these are the bestest motors ever. Well, then Daimler Chrysler took over about 2005, and they changed a couple things. They made new product lines on the Jeep, which was like the Jeep Commander, not too bad. The Jeep Liberty already existed with the 3.7 that was introduced, I believe, in 2002. Well, so fast forward to the future when Daimler starts taking over, and they changed some things on these 4.7s. And the 3.7s. And it's surprising what they did. They thought they were doing something better, but they actually made something worse. So for you folks that own Jeeps like this information is gonna be excellent. Okay, let's come over to the table and start talking about what the purpose of this stinking video is. Why is he hammering on so long? Well, immediately we've got it set up right here, 02 to 06. We can see that the chains are a little bit different. The sprockets on the top are a little bit different. The bottom sprocket, the back portions of the sprockets are actually the same, and you can tell that the chains are near identical. They ride on the same style gear set. We can take a look at the tensioner guides themselves. Well, they have a little bit of a difference. This is the 06. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit more robust. Don't know if it necessarily makes it better or not. And this is the 02. The ride points on the 02 to 06 are the same. So theoretically speaking, you could use the 02 in the 06 platform if you wanted. The other ones are nearly the same as well. This gets a little bit bigger in the 2006, whereas in the 2002, this is shallower. There is a really good point about this video and something that's going to blow your mind, and I'm going to explain it to you. But first, we need to talk about the vehicles themselves real quick and go over some of the different changes on the inside of the engine. What is happening, folks? My name's Clay with Clay's AC and Auto Repair and the Clay Way here in Muskegon, Michigan. And I believe my job here on YouTube is not only show you how to fix things, but to inspire you, empower you, and give you something that you never knew you had, while taking things from you that you definitely don't need and showing you not to be the next to them, but the very first to you, while teaching you that if anyone else can do it, I promise you, you can do it too. So if this video ends up being helpful, please consider subscribing, clicking the notification, sharing my videos, give me them sweet old thumbs up. If you got a question for me, you can hit me up on Clay's AC and Auto Repair on the Facebook Messenger. I try to help everyone that I possibly can. I can't help you with that baby mama drama, but I may be able to help you fix that car. And if this video is helpful, please at nighttime turn the volume down on your laptop computer. Open that sucker up. Put on one of my sweet Jeep Clayway playlist. Let them suckers play from front to back. Okay, now the engine that's a 4.7 that goes inside the Jeep Commander has a 32-tooth tone ring. What that means is at the bottom of the engine, there's a sensor which is called your crank sensor, and it reads the revolutions of the engine by what's called a tone ring. And just for example, this is the crank toe or the cam toe ring, and it's very similar. You can kind of look at this as like binary code, and you can see that all of these windows are in different places. That happens similar on the crank. On the crank, there'll be one larger notch in here, and there'll be 32 notches around here. But on the 2002 Dodge Durango, it has a 16-tooth tone ring, meaning there's one wide notch and 15, I guess technically, other notches, so it can always tell the computer where the engine is at. That's just a layman's way of explaining it. I wished I had the engine blocks sitting here so I could show you folks that. It would make a lot more sense, but it's irrelevant to this story. But that is one of the reasons that you can't take the 2002 engine and put it in the 2006. The 2002 engine is more than likely a better engine. Another big difference between the 2002 and the 2006 is most of that is standard, and most of that Jeep is metric. So if we think about it, the 32-tooth tone ring is much better than the 16 because the 32-tooth tone ring has more points of reference than the 16-tooth tone ring. So that's why they're different and one of the biggest differences. And I started looking at the tensioners, and I made a crazy discovery that is going to even blow that mind. Watch this-ish. So we're going to take this tensioner and set it next to this tensioner, and we're going to look down at them, and we're going to look at the base. I'll pull the bolts out of here so they can look fairly identical. They look darn near the same, don't they? I wonder if the backs are the same. I haven't really looked, so I don't know. Well, they both have plates. They look like the holes are the same. Clay, what are you freaking talking about? What are you getting to? Get to the damn point already. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. There's a hole in there, and there's not a hole in there. What does that have to do with anything? Wouldn't the holes make it better? Oil would be coming out of here, lubricating the bar and doing all sorts of stuff. Well, that's the problem. That hole right there, and then there's also one along the side, is the problem. You probably think you know what I'm going to say, and I'm going to say what you think I'm going to say, which is you should use the 2002 tensioner over the 2006, but you're going to be like, oh, Clay, if I do that, then there won't be as much lubrication. Well, I'm going to show you why that doesn't matter, and I'll also mention to you, I've been working on cars for probably 25 years at least, if actually maybe 30, but anyways, that's beside the point. Been working on them for a long time. And I haven't had very many 2002 to 2004 timing problems on any Jeep or any Dodge with the 3.7 and the 4.7. Had a lot of head gasket problems. Not terribly bad, but enough of them to know. I'm telling you that these tensioners on the 2002 and this system is better for longevity. Bam. So, over time, as that cam wears down, and this is spurting oil out of it, instead of keeping it trapped inside there, it loses tension. See, like I can super easily push this plunger down, and I can't easily push this one down. There's more resistance in this one than there is in this one. Now, you could take a scale and you could set this in a scale and then start setting weights on the top of it to see how bad it is, but it's defective, whereas in this one has much more pressure. And then the other thing that happens that's just mind-blowing is these holes right here actually make this tensioner worse. The reason is that the engine can't build up as much oil pressure as it used to. So then in turn, it just lets the oil out of here. Doesn't have to travel back as far, doesn't have as much back pressure. So if you're ever doing one of these timing sets, get the O2 tensioners that don't have the holes in them. Yes, you're gonna sacrifice a little bit more wear on these, but let me tell you something else that you don't know right now. This engine right here, 2002 Dodge Durango, has 155,000 miles on it. And this engine right here, 2006 Jeep, has 185. And you can see the wear pattern is actually worse on the tensioner guide on the higher mileage one than the lower mileage one. That's super sick. I never knew that before today. So like, get one of these, get the tensioners for the O2 that don't have the closed holes unless they did some kind of engineering change and made it to where them are unavailable. I hope they didn't do that, but I can actually reuse these tensioners with confidence, and I'm absolutely certain they'll work. We're gonna switch out these chains and some of this other stuff. If you guys need to know more about setting up these timing or any of that stuff, I have great video on showing you how to reset all of these tensioners. I have video showing you a super trick that I do about installing these timing chains, which will make it so much easier and so much simpler. So, hopefully you guys dug the video and you dig that ish right there, because I'm super stoked by learning that. So I wanted to explain to you what I'm talking about when they lose oil pressure and why that's a problem on most modern vehicles with VVT technology. Okay, so because the tensioners lose oil pressure when they have the little holes at the end of them, the real reason is because after time, these will wear down a couple hundredths of an inch, and it will make these holes bigger. And then it's just like if you had a water hose and water was coming out of it, and you put your finger over it, it'll spray out more. Well, along with the tensioner having the holes in the end of it, it lessens the amount of oil that will go up to each one of these cams. It's more prevalent in vehicles that have variable valve timing that use oil pressure to control the timing, advancement, and retardation. Over time, wearing them out, causing the oil pressure to reduce inside the vehicle. So, keeping these tensioners, the older style, and putting them in your newer vehicles actually will help with that and keep these things having decent oil pressure. And what I mean by decent oil pressure is at an idle, if you have 10 pounds of oil pressure, you're probably okay. Some vehicles run at 6 or 5 because they have tensioners that relieve a lot of oil pressure, and the engine can't build it up because these holes have gotten bigger over time. If that makes sense to y'all. I hope it does. It makes sense to me. Well, hopefully you folks dug that video and you'll consider subscribing, checking out my other stuff that I do on Jeeps and all the different stuff that I figure out all the time all by myself. I use my brain. This is what I'm talking about when I talk about inspiring you and empowering you. And when I say things, it's not a matter of what you can't do. It's only a matter of what you won't do. Remember, if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. Don't be the next of them, be the first of you. Click them notifications, sharing my videos, and give me them sweet old thumbs up. If you've got a question for me, you can hit me up on Clay's AC and Auto Repair. I answer all your questions that I can for absolutely free. I cannot help you with that old baby mama drama, but I may be able to help you fix one of these whips. God bless, folks. Have the absolute best of days.